never believed in ghosts, God, or demons until last night. I've always been a skeptic. No religion, no afterlife, no ghosts. Just the physical world and the stories people tell to make sense of it. I used to roll my eyes at haunted house stories. I'd laugh when people talked about angels or demonic possessions. It was all nonsense to me. Until last night. Now I'm sitting in a gas station parking lot, shivering violently despite the humid air, staring at my hands like they're not mine anymore. The skin feels too tight, the bones too brittle. Something followed me home last night. I don't think it came from this world, and I don't think I'm going to survive tonight. Let me explain. I live alone in a small rural house just outside of town. No roommates, no nearby neighbors, just trees and silence. A silence that used to be comforting, but now feels like a held breath. Yesterday, I got home around 8 p.m. I'd been running errands and was dead tired. It had just started to rain, a cold, misty drizzle, enough to make the woods look hazy, like a living shadow through the headlights. As I pulled into the driveway, my car headlights hit something standing at the edge of the tree line. I thought it was a deer at first, two pale, round shapes reflecting the light. But deer don't stand upright. I froze, my foot hovering over the brake pedal. The figure didn't move, didn't react, just watched. It was impossibly tall, unnaturally thin, and even from 30 feet away, I could tell something was deeply, fundamentally wrong. The shape of its head wasn't right, too long, like a stretched skull, and its arms hung too low, the fingertips dragging the wet ground. I blinked, and it was gone. Like literally gone, no sound of running, no movement of leaves, no shadow of a thing disappearing into the trees. Just vanished. 1 second it was there, the next it wasn't. I sat in my car for a long time, the engine ticking, the headlights slicing through the rain. I told myself I was just tired, a trick of the light, a hallucination. That's what I told myself, until I saw the footprints, leading up from the woods, up my driveway, to my front door. Bare footprints, long toes deep in the mud, as if something heavy had walked through barefoot. Slowly, they stopped at my welcome mat, and there were no prints going back. I stood on my porch staring at my door. I don't know why, but I knocked before opening it. A pathetic, hollow sound. I laughed at myself. What the hell are you doing? But when I stepped inside, every light in the house was on. Not just on, they were a blinding, harsh white. Every bulb, every lamp. The sudden brightness felt like a physical violation. That night I couldn't sleep. Every sound felt amplified, like the world had been turned up to 11. The wind groaning through the trees, the ticking clock, the creak of the old floorboards. But worst of all, the house itself seemed to be breathing, a low, constant hum, like a distant whisper. Around 2:30 a.m., the hallway light turned off by itself, just clicked off. The house went from a false brightness to a consuming absolute darkness. I got up to check the switch. It was flipped on. That's when I heard it. Breathing. Slow, wet breathing. A rasping, gurgling sound coming from my bedroom closet. It was too loud to be human. It sounded like something trying to breathe through a throat full of water and gravel. I froze. My body knew before my brain did. Something was in there with me. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and yanked the closet door open. Nothing. No one. Just my old coats, some boxes, and a silence so profound it felt like a weight on my chest. I didn't sleep. This morning, I noticed something carved into my bedroom wall. It hadn't been there yesterday, I swear on my life. It looked like 3 long symbols, like crosses but twisted and elongated. The lines jagged and raw. They were burned into the dry wall, deep as if gorged with something hot. The smell of scorched plaster still hung in the air. And then my nose started bleeding. Just out of nowhere, a sudden gush of warm liquid. It hasn't stopped for more than an hour. Every time I wipe it, it starts again. I've gone through half a roll of paper towels. The blood feels thick, almost oily. I came out to the gas station for a break, just to get away. But even now, in a lit parking lot surrounded by people, I don't feel alone. I can feel it watching me. But it's more than that. Something is inside me. Not metaphorically, I mean literally. I feel like there's something under my skin. Like it's a parasite moving and twisting just below the surface. I can feel a cold pressure behind my eyes and a strange deep ache in my bones. It's wearing me, like a coat it hasn't zipped up yet, and I'm just the lining. And here's the thing that broke me. The reason I wrote this, while I was in the bathroom here at the station, I looked in the mirror and my reflection didn't move. I turned my head to the right, it stayed still. I raised my hand, it stayed perfectly still, hanging at its side. Then, after a long, terrifying second, its mouth stretched into a wide, unnatural smile. A smile that didn't reach its eyes, which were black just for an instant. I didn't smile. It smiled at me like it knew a terrible secret. Then it mouthed 2 words, its lips forming the shape slowly, deliberately. He's coming. I never believed in ghosts, or God, or demons, but I believe now, because I think I brought one home with me, and it doesn't want to leave. If anyone's ever seen anything like this before, please tell me what to do. My nose is still bleeding. The blood smells like rust and burning paper. I think I'm running out of time. It's inside me. I'm sure of it now. Time feels like it's peeling away in layers, same as skin after a burn. Soft, pink, and wrong underneath. I left the gas station 10 minutes ago, or maybe 20. I don't know why. The gas station, well lit and busy, was safe, or at least it felt safe. My plan was to drive to the ER, but something pulled me back to that house, like a barbed hook buried behind my sternum, tugging me back to where it all started. My hands gripped the wheel as I drove, but they didn't feel like my hands anymore. They didn't feel like hands. The knuckles had gone loose, like they'd been boiled. The bones beneath flexed wrong, delayed, as if they were remembering the motion after I made it. The skin is shifting, looser in some places, too tight in others. A creature molting from the inside out. I scratched an itch on my forearm and felt something coiling beneath the surface, tight and slick. Something twitched within my fingers. Not muscle, not blood, something else, something aware. Fear consumed me. I pulled over. I'm sitting in the back seat now. I don't remember climbing back here. My nosebleed stopped, but now there's something worse. There's something in the back of my throat. I can taste it. Metallic and acrid. Blood curdled with smoke. When I breathe, I smell earth, but not dirt. Grave earth. The smell of the inside of a coffin cracked open after too many years. Wet wood and ancient rot and something trying to scream without lungs. I coughed hard, and something came up. It wasn't blood, it wasn't bile. It was black, syrup thick and tar slick. It hit the upholstery with a wet smack and started moving, twitching, bubbling, trying to return, I must be hallucinating. I have to be hallucinating. I leaned out of the door and vomited. More of it came up, ropes of black mucus, stringy and fibrous, writhing like worms in heat. Upon contact with the ground, the pavement sizzled, the concrete pitted. I can feel it growing, pulsing every time I try to speak like it's waiting for a voice to borrow, to steal. My tongue doesn't sit right in my mouth. It's too thick, too dry. It tastes of ashes and dirt, charcoal and rust, and a strange, sweet rot. I dropped to my knees as a pressure built beneath my ribs. At first, I thought I was going to throw up again. I tried to gag, to force something out, but nothing came. Just a rising tide of something cold and wrong curling through my guts, like thick, slick coils of intestine unraveling in reverse. I think I screamed. I don't remember the sound. I remember my voice cracking. I remember my reflection in the side of the mirror. It didn't move. Again, the eyes were vast and full of something that didn't belong in any human skull. Something old. Older than bone, older than language, something that remembers being worshipped. But the worst part, the truly unspeakable part, is that I'm starting to hear its voice. Not with my ears, it's inside my thoughts, curdling them, wrapping itself around my memoirs, a spider spinning silk around prey, whispering in a language I don't understand but feel in my bones, as though it belongs there. It's not just inside me. It's replacing me. The rest of the drive was a blur. I don't remember getting behind the wheel again. I think I blacked out for part of it. I only remember the moment I turned onto my road, how the trees leaned in, as though they'd been waiting, whispering something wet and slow between their branches. The house was dark when I pulled up. Not just unlit. Dark. A black so deep you feel it in your soul. The porch light was shattered. The windows looked melted, warped, as if the glass had tried to pull away from whatever was inside. Still, I went in. I don't remember unlocking the door. I don't remember even touching it. I just went. I was just inside. The air hit me. A lungful of sickly rot, thick and wet, analogous to breathing through gauze soaked in meat. The lights wouldn't turn on. My phone flickered uselessly in my hand, the screen dimming, pulsing, then dying completely. The symbols on the wall had spread. They were everywhere now, carved deep into the wood of the floorboards, into the walls, and the windows. They bled, thick, slow rivulets of something that looked like blood but smelled of old metal and swamp decay. I stepped in one barefoot and it clung to my skin, soaking in, warm and buzzing with static. I made it to the bathroom before the screaming started. Not mine. Something else. I stumbled back and slammed into the hallway mirror. That's when I saw it again. My reflection, but this time it wasn't delayed. It wasn't off, it was ahead of me, moving first, tilting its head before I did, smiling before I screamed. It raised a hand and pointed not at me, but into me, as if it could see through me, as if it saw something else in there. My limbs felt borrowed, the tendons tugged at the wrong angles, pulled by invisible threads like a marionette handled by something that had only read about humans. This isn't a haunting. This is a metamorphosis. I'm being hollowed out, bit by bit, soul first. It's not wearing me, it's building itself inside me, growing, learning how to be me. My reflection is talking more now. It mimics my voice perfectly. It tells me things I don't want to hear, and it smiles while it does. With that waxy, too wide mouth, it says,
"You were empty long before we came. You invited us."
I'm not writing this to warn you. It's too late for that. I'm writing this because I need to remember what it felt like to be human, because soon I won't. Soon something else will wear this skin. And it will smile, walk, and speak with my voice, and it wants more. I think that's why the reflection smiles. Because it knows the ending already. Because it knows
You're next.
It already knows your name.
Yeah, you.
That feeling behind your eyes right now. The subtle pull. The itch you can't
Quite scratch.
That soft pressure in your teeth.
It's already started.
You let it in. By listening.
By believing.
This thing doesn't need doors. It
doesn't need rituals.
It's a disease, a worm in the fruit of your mind. Dormant until you
look too close.
So go ahead.
Look in the mirror tonight.
Just a glance. And if your reflection hesitates for even a second, if it tilts its head a moment
too late, run. But it won't matter. You've already been marked. You've already started to hollow.